So, Dynasty is tonight. Thank fuck for that. I wish to God they'd do their pay-per-views on a Saturday. Because this shit is becoming tedious for me. So, we're going to do, obviously, I was going to do them yesterday. The card wasn't fully announced for some whatever reason. So, the card, all the graphics, everything's out. So, let's do our predictions for 0 Hour and the main show. So, our first match to talk about on 0 Hour is the AEW Women's Tag Team Belts of the new champs, the Divine Dominion, Megan Bayne and Lena Cross, versus Hyanna Maya Whale. They confirmed this on Collision. I was happy about that. I'm happy to see Hyanna Maya Whale get a little hype package and a little match announcement for 0 Hour. Feels like they've deserved that. I'm happy. I'm just happy they're still around. I think the Divine Dominion will win. Obviously, the building going to be building towards All In with Windsor and Hayter taking those belts probably. But yeah, it's nice to see these girls actually get a challenge. Hopefully, the Divine Dominion actually get more than a squash match here, so it'll probably be at least 5-10 minutes. But get the belts on the card. That's the main thing, especially for Dynasty. So I think the Divine Dominion will win. But honestly, I'm just happy that Hyanna Maya Whale are actually getting a pay-per-view match, even though it's on 0 Hour. And for the love of God, change their theme music because it was ass. So our second match to actually talk about on 0 Hour is the AEW National Championship with the champ Jungle Jack Perry taking on Mark Davis. Great call. Great match. Like that idea a hell of a lot. I think this match will be really fucking good. I really do. I think this match will be fucking solid as hell. Mark Davis has been on a tear. Jack Perry's been in great form too. I think, obviously, Perry should retain. I wouldn't be against if Mark Davis run here, but Perry should retain. They'll try and build this up a bit more with his reign, because obviously how big they built up Ricochet losing. I think, yeah, Jack Perry will win. I wouldn't be against Davis winning. The main call is there's Luchasaurus return. I don't know if he's been cleared or what. I'd like to see a Luchasaurus appearance, but maybe not a return. I don't know. But Jack Perry with the singles belt, that's the main thing. But this match on paper will fuck Mark Davis. Again, there's not much that man can do wrong. He is great. So, our third match to actually talk about is the final match of 0 Hour, which I assume is going to bleed over to the main show, because they like doing that, and I really like when they do that. Is going to be Alex Windsor of the Brawling Birds, and obviously Will Ospreay's other half, versus Marina Shafir of the Death Riders. I really like how this builds into the Ospreay and Moxley feud. I do. I think this match will be really good. I like Alex Windsor a lot. I like Marina Shafir. I think this works. They're both very striking, heavy wrestlers too. I think for me, I think Marina's going to win. I don't know. I think Windsor would benefit and the win would make more sense. I think, obviously, I feel like this obviously does affect the Moxley match. I think Windsor's going to win here. I do. I think Windsor's going to win here. Just for the hype and stuff for Ospreay. And obviously, I'll talk about my Ospreay prediction later. But I think Windsor will win here. It'll be a good match. The problem is, how do you have Shafir lose? That's my thing. Either way this match goes, but obviously it's just to build more for Ospreay and Moxley, which I'm not against. But either way, I'm excited for this. I think this match will actually be... I think 0 Hour is one of the strongest 0 Hours I've seen in a while. But with no Big Boom AJ! What the fuck? But, yeah, Perry versus Davis looks great. Nice to see Hyanna Maya Whale get on there. And then, obviously, Marina versus Windsor. Windsor is going to be great. I really am looking forward to that. I think this is a very fucking good 0 Hour. However, we have got our AEW Dynasty main card predictions. So let's get into that right now. So the card's obviously out. Let's talk about the trio. No, actually, let's talk about the gauntlet. The Casino Gauntlet match is obviously going to be the big talking point, because who's going to be in it? The only two people we know are going to be in it are Tommaso Ciampa and Rush El Toro Blanco after he won on Collision. I think, so I worked this out in the last Dynamite Casino Royal. There was 12 entrants, and we've already got 2 with Ciampa and Rush. So I feel like, add another 10. I feel like, people like, so we've got Ciampa, Rush. I feel like Bowens and Dorado will still make appearances. I feel like that makes sense. They normally do something like that. I think we'll get Juice. I think we'll get Ace Austin. That's 6. I feel like we'll get El Clon. I would like to see El Clon. I feel like El Clon will be a good call. El Clon will be 7. I think Brody King will be number 8. This is not in order, by the way, but I think Brody King will be in it. I think it makes sense. You got to have Brody on the card. The big talking point is obviously, will Kyle O'Reilly be in it? I think that affects our other opinion, but just to skip ahead, obviously there's a trios match with a conglomeration and there's a mystery third partner. The problem is, for me, this one is either Briscoe or O'Reilly. Now, if O'Reilly's not in that match, he's in here. And obviously, if O'Reilly's in a trios match, Briscoe's here. I feel like that's the natural, so to speak. I feel like that would be a good call, Briscoe in the gauntlet. But if Kyle O'Reilly, if it's either or, whoever it isn't in that, put them in here. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they're both. I don't know where Briscoe's at. I've missed Briscoe for a while, so I don't know where he's been. I feel like we could get Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley would be a good call. I think Shibata. I would kill for Shibata to be in this. Shibata, probably Hooker as well, unfortunately. And I don't know. So Hechisero's a call for me where I'm like, maybe, maybe not. I would like Hechicero to be in here, but I don't know if he will be. The biggest problem with this TNT scene, this TNT gauntlet, is a lot of the people like Roddy and Claudio. It's Claudio probably being this, Garcia too, actually. You know what I mean? I think I've went over 12. I feel like a lot of the problem is like people like Roddy and stuff are in other matches. So it's like, there you go. So I feel like that's the thing with the Kyle pick. The main point is obviously who do I think is going to win it. I think Ciampa's the one that makes the most sense, but I think that is a call that makes too much sense and is too straightforward that they won't do. I think the obvious thing is Kyle in it. If Kyle O'Reilly is in it, you give Kyle O'Reilly the win. That's it. I think you give Kyle O'Reilly the win if he's in it. If Briscoe's in it, you don't give it to Briscoe. That's my thing. I don't think you give it to Briscoe if he's in it. However, for me, who do I think is win it and who do I think is the good call? I think Brody King will win the TNT belt. I think it makes the most sense. I feel like the guy is over as hell. It's obviously a sway from the obvious call with Ciampa. It gives Ciampa's whole chase going on a bit more. It gives you, obviously, if Kyle O'Reilly's not in it, you know what I mean? But I think Brody makes sense. You got to capitalize on just how hot he is at the minute. Him and Bandido both holding singles titles could be fucking baller as hell. I think Brody's going to win the TNT scene. He might not hold it for a while, but Jesus, I think Brody winning the TNT belt benefits him big time. I really do. I think that's a great scene for him. I think it allows him to develop. And whoever takes it off him gets immediately over because it's a giant situation. I really do think that, I don't know, I just think Brody makes the sense. If Kyle's in the gauntlet, I've got to make this very clear. If Kyle O'Reilly is in the casino gauntlet instead of the trios match, he wins it. He has to win it for me. But I think Brody King wins this. I do. I think Brody King. I think the top three is either Brody, Kyle O'Reilly, or Ciampa. But I'd give it to Brody. I think that makes the most sense. You capitalize, and I've got a shirt on, and that's pure coincidence. So, speaking of this, we actually have the trios match next. I want to get onto that. We have the new AEW Trios champions, the Dogs, Gabe Kidd, Clark Connors, and David Finlay, going up against Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and a mystery partner. Now, the Dogs won the titles on Collision last night, if you didn't see. But I haven't done my Collision review yet, so spoilers for that, I guess. But the mystery partner for Conglomeration, I don't know if we get Briscoe. I don't know if we get Kyle. I think it's between either. Kyle makes the most sense because Kyle kind of teased in an interview that he'd be returning. I would think, personally, I really think if Briscoe, Kyle being in that makes sense. Obviously, it's a big return for Kyle, and, you know, if you get, honestly, they could even, I don't think they should win the golds there, but they could. But I would actually like Briscoe there. I think Briscoe makes a lot of sense, and I think that makes them more sense. And then you'd obviously have Kyle in the TNT scene, which is better. But either way, Briscoe or Kyle, they're my two guesses. I don't think it'll be Hologram, and I don't think it'll be Ishii. I feel like because it's going to be someone in the Conglomeration, I feel like it's Briscoe or Kyle. I think they're the solid bets. But if this is before the gauntlet, I don't think either of them enter the gauntlet, which is sad, but it's my opinion. After this, we actually get a tag team match. We get the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, versus Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita. How the fuck Don thinks this is a good idea is beyond me. Now, Don's whole thing is Takeshita doesn't want a team with Okada, and he wants his belt. Okada saying he's Michael Jordan. Takeshita Scottie Pippen. Fucking a horrible hater. But Don has promised Takeshita a shot at the international belt if they win against the Bucks. Now, I feel like this match will, I don't know how you could, I think you've got to have Takeshita and Okada build after this. I feel like that makes the most sense in the world. However, them beating a tag team like the Bucks makes very little sense. So this is where it's kind of cool. I think the Bucks, I think regardless what you do, Takeshita and Okada builds. I think that is the way. I think that's what they're going to do. I don't know if you do that via Takeshita and Okada just blow up and just start beating the shit out of each other. Or the Bucks just get beat by them, and then, you know, you get the fucking match. I think personally, either way works. I think the blowing up at each other makes more sense, but obviously you've set the stip. I think the Bucks will win here. I do, but I feel like this could go either way. The end goal is the same. That's the thing. I feel like the end goal is the same. I feel like if the Bucks lost here, they would have to do something. I think they'd go from more of the trio scene. I don't know if they go through that with, obviously, we don't know what Kenny's gonna, we'll talk about what I think will happen with Kenny after this later on. I don't know what, obviously you got Jack Perry too. The Bucks have got pals, so either way. But I think whatever happens here, I think, I'll say the Bucks will win. I think the Bucks will win. But I think that, I think that Okada and Takeshita feud for the international belt will happen. I do. I think that makes the most sense in the world. However, little brainstorm there real quick. If Takeshita loses, and this is before the gauntlet, and Takeshita goes and wins the gauntlet, that could be... I want to just get that out of the way. I don't think that'll happen, but imagine if that happens. I want to call that words in my head. That could be sick. After this, we're going to talk about Chris Jericho making his return in ring to Ricochet after he brought back the list. I think Jericho will win. I don't know what this sets up after him. I don't know if the Gates of Agony... I think soon the Gates of Agony are going to have some sort of involvement. I don't know if Jericho brings back... I've got a feeling Jericho is going to try and get Guevara back. I do. I feel like that makes sense for both people. Jericho's last over when he had, Guevara. Guevara was last over when he had Jericho. It makes the most sense. I'm not a big fan of Sammy Guevara, so maybe... But I feel like that's what the end goal will be here. I don't know if Guevara makes an appearance and then, they shake hands or hug it out after the match, reunite. I don't know. But I hope if Big Bill and Brian Keith show up, that's when it kicks off. But I think as an actual match, I think Ricochet is going to sell the fucking life out of this shit. Jericho, I don't expect Jericho to be, really great here. I think he'll do fine. I think this is going to be a break match. I think this will be, I feel like they'll have the three-peat. I think they'll have this before the main event, obviously, but I think it'll be, the main card just before the Willow. Just before the Willow. My friends just sent a message about Willow. Willow's not on the card. Fucking wild. I feel like they'll have this, a match or two before the main event. Do you know what I mean? Just to break it up with the pace, because it'll probably be after Ospreay and Mox. I think that's what it'll be. But either way, I don't think it'll be awful. I think Jericho will win. I think they're going to set up him and Guevara. I think that's what makes sense to me. And then, I don't know how you do that, but I think Jericho's going to ride the face for a bit longer. Next, we're actually going to talk about Andrade versus Darby Allin for the #1 contendership for the AEW Men's World Championship. If it was up to me, Andrade fucking wipes the floor with him. Regardless what you do, regardless what happens with the main event, you fucking wipe the floor with Darby here. But I think they're going to try and push Darby for the world title a bit more. I don't know. I feel like whoever wins this kind of gives my opinions on the main event. So, I don't really know. I feel like this does affect my opinion. But then again, I feel like, the thing is, I feel like if you have Darby win, I think the max match is the obvious thing you do. I think if you have Andrade win, and I would personally have Andrade win every single time. Andrade has the Kenny match there, which is a big match. Obviously, since he returned, he'd never done it. And I know they already had it, but, they could do it again. It was baller. And then you got the Max match, which is a feud I fucking want. I really want that. So, I think for me, I would have Andrade win. I don't know. Heart says Andrade, brain says Darby. So I'm really torn. I think they'll give it to Andrade just to shake it up. And because I think Darby's always better as the chaser. And plus, I think you'd be stupid to neutralise Andrade's momentum. I do. I feel like you've got to keep Andrade in that main event scene. Not that he'd drop out, but I don't know. I just feel like Andrade being there, winning #1 contendership again, solidifies him a bit more. I'd have Andrade win. I would. I think Andrade will win. I hope to God Andrade... Just give Andrade a fucking win. After this, we're going to talk about the AEW Women's World Championship between Tekla, big fan of Tekla, and Jamie Hayter, someone I'm also a big fan of. This match is really interesting. I really can't wait for this match. I think this could be... I love Tekla. I love Jamie Hayter. I love this. I love this as a match. I think it was very smart to do these two. I think Tekla retains. I want Tekla to retain. I've said for years now, a year or two now, I want Jamie Hayter to win the belt. She should have won it last year at All In. I think that was her time. And I think it was Tony Khan's drop. I think it was after that it kind of got a bit complicated. Jamie Hayter's been the most deserving to win this belt. However, I've said it multiple times, I'll stand by it. Tekla's the best champ in the company at the minute. She really is, and I stand by that. She's incredible. Phenomenal. No flaws in her game at all. None. Genuinely none. And then the chemistry these two have. And plus, you got Hater going down. Obviously, the tag route, they're going to win that at All In, probably. I feel like this reeks of a Tekla retain. I don't know who they set up after it. I don't know. I mean, who Mercedes comes back, maybe? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I think they'll try and set someone up after this. Shida maybe, but Shida's obviously got the thing going on with Stat. There's going to be something. But either way, I think Tekla wins, but I think the match, this could possibly be match of the night. And that's a high bar because the card's stacked. This could be match of the night. Really don't sleep on this match. Phenomenal. So next, we're going to talk about the AEW Tag Team Championships between FTR and Cajun Cope. I think this is a hard one to call, which people don't believe it is, because it feels more sense. It's in Canada. Christian and Edge have returned. It makes sense. However, I feel like the obvious call for them to win, and obviously with the book situation, I feel like, so yeah, this kind of solidifies my opinion. So I think what's going to happen is, I don't think Edge and Christian win here. I don't think that happens. I think the Bucks win, and then Edge and Christian don't. It creates the freeway. And then I think they're going to do a sort of spin on TLC. I think that makes sense. I feel like that'll be good too. I think FTR are going to retain here, which is the heat they're going to get is insane, and that's what FTR are obviously all about. However, the setup for going forward for TLC makes the most sense in the world. Well, a form of TLC, and obviously that's what I think Edge and Christian will win. However, the match here, I think this could be really fun. I think people think Cage and Cope are going to be a bit more limited because obviously their age. I think they're going to show out. And the atmosphere, the entrances alone is going to be fucking off the charts. And the heat they've managed and the build they've done has been great. This will be really good. I think this is one of the most anticipated matches. And it should be. It's a great match on paper. But I do think FTR retain. And then maybe we get something with the Bucks next week. But I think they're going to build that to a TLC triple threat thing. But that makes sense to me. So either way, I think this match will be fun. I think it'll be a really good match. I think the atmosphere, I wouldn't be against this opening. I wouldn't be against this opening at all. But I think that it's a bit too much anticipated to think you could have this in the middle, then followed by the Jericho match. That's what makes sense to me, actually. But yeah, this match is going to fuck. However, this is a big one talking about anticipation. We have got the AEW Continental Championship match between Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay. I think this is possibly, even with the main event being how highly, I think the main event's incredible. I think this match is real. I think this could possibly be more anticipated. The build, that United Empire throw-in has made it more, just elevated it, ironically, to such a high degree that I can't wait for this match. It's going to be fucking phenomenal. For me, I think Moxley's going to retain. I do. I feel like Moxley retains. It makes sense. I feel like they're not gonna. I feel like if they're gonna do anyone winning the Continental belt, it doesn't make sense for it to be Will. I feel like Will's onto different things. I don't think this makes sense. And I think Moxley with that Continental Championship, if he was gonna lose it, you lose it to Takeshita. That's my thing. So I don't think this is the time. I think this maybe you build the Claudio stuff. I think, this could be actually the time where they have the Claudio turn. But either way, I think the match, I don't know where Eddie Kingston's at. You could have Eddie Kingston come out after the match to, interrupt Moxley maybe. But either way, I think the big call is, I think Ospreay's going to absolutely decimate him. And there's obviously no people at ringside, so that makes a lot of sense. Continental rules. However, I think Moxley is going to get his ass beat. And I think the reason Ospreay is going to win is, for some reason, somehow, I think Newman's going to play a role. I don't know if Newman wins it. I don't know if Newman's able to do that. Obviously, with the Continental rules, it's bullshit. But it is a bit hard to do. But I feel like that's the feud. The building obviously got Forbidden Door coming up. And Newman, Ospreay have obviously got the history. They're teasing that a hell of a lot. I feel like that makes sense. I feel like that makes sense for, of course, on Forbidden Door and All In, both hometown. I feel like that makes sense. And, yeah, I feel like it's going to have something to do with Newman. I do. I think Moxley retains. I think the match will be a barn burner. I do. I think the match will be incredible. I've never seen Moxley and Ospreay have actually had match before in New Japan, but I've never watched it, so I need to watch that. And obviously they shared the steel cage at Forbidden Door, but 1v1, I think they've only had one, and I need to watch that, so that could be a match ramble one day. But this match, for the first time I'll be experiencing these two 1v1, could be really fucking good. But I think Moxley retains. I think after the match something happens regardless. I think either Claudio turns or Newman appears and turns on Ospreay. I feel like that's the either way what they do. But I think regardless what you do, something's got to be led straight after it with either Claudio or Newman. I think there's going to be a turn, and that makes sense. I think personally I'd have the Newman one straight away. Set that up. Boom. There we go. But I don't know. I think that the thought of Newman costing Ospreay is hard to play off because of obviously the Continental rules, but I just think they're going to try and work that in there. Look at the Continental Classic match with Takeshita and Okada. It's possible. It's dumb, but it's fucking possible. But either way, the match is going to be a classic. Really can't wait for this. However, I think the main event match is next, and it's the last one we've got to talk about, obviously. It is the AEW Men's World title. MJF versus Kenny Omega. The devil versus the god of pro wrestling, who isn't Kenta Kobashi. It should be Kenta Kobashi, who's the god of pro wrestling. Whatever. If you hear the music in the background, AEW released a fucking music track just for this match. That's how insanely hyped this match is for me and everyone else. I think, again, with the Darby and Andrade match, that builds a lot. I think if Darby wins, it's a max win. I do. I feel like that. I don't think they're going to be building Kenny and Darby. If they do that, it's good. It won't be the all-in match. It won't. And yeah, you got the Owens, so it doesn't actually build anything. What the fuck am I on about? I think the match I recently done a match on their Ratch Ramble on their Collision match, 2 years ago, 2023, for the title versus streak thing. Which, if you've not watched the match on the Match Ramble, whatever, it's a classic. It's a really good fucking match. They've got great chemistry. I'm expecting probably more from here because Max has just elevated. I think the all-important call, who do I think wins? I think Kenny wins. It feels like it's the right time. It feels like it's the right moment. I feel like hometown hero Kenny. I feel like Kenny's going to struggle getting singles belt if it's not now. I feel like this is the time to kind of give him that moment. It does. Obviously, I'm not saying Kenny's going to retire now, but I don't think Kenny's going to have a Bryan moment where retirement run he wins the belt. He could, but I don't think he will. I feel like Kenny retires down the tag route with Kota. Sad point, but I think this is the time. I think you give it to Kenny, you build it all in. I don't know if you do Ospreay, I don't know whoever you do, but I think this makes sense. However, the big thing for me is Swerve's lurking about. Swerve just went silent after his loss to Kenny. And Swerve on his shit, he will not be taking that lightly. Swerve could cost Kenny here and Max retained. That'd be big heat, and obviously then you've got Swerve going into the Owen, because the Owen starts after this. So, either way, I think this match could go either way, as always the All could. I think it's going to be Kenny. I do. Maybe they build Kenny and Swerve for All In. I don't think that's the match, but maybe. I just think, I don't know what you do with Max after it if you have Kenny win. Max wins, it's great, by the way. I don't want Max to win. I think Max is a great champ. I think Max is a great wrestler. And it does feel like it would be in a bit of an abrupt ending for Max to lose here. But I think if Max wins, it's going to be something to do with Swerve. That's my big call. I think it will be something to do with Swerve. However, I just think Kenny, I think it's time. I just think it's the right time to capitalize the environment, everything. I think if you're going to have the FTR win against KG and Cope, which I think you do, you got to have Kenny win here. It's kind of like a, one double-edged sword type of deal. I don't think you'll do both. I think you got to have one hometown, like pure heat. So I think that will be the result. I think Kenny wins. But I think the match is incredible. I think this will, probably, main event be a match tonight shouldn't be a shock, but I think this could be fucking phenomenal. The Collision match is great. This should be better. Can't wait for this. I'd give it fucking 45 to an hour, by the way. Give this time to cook. Because the rivalry, everything between these two of the best wrestlers in the world, and for the belt, makes the most sense. I want this to really, really elevate. I do. I think maybe as well the Diamond Ring can obviously play a part in it, but I don't know. The match itself, looking forward to a hell of a lot. Can't wait for this shit. And I think, yes, Kenny Omega takes the AEW Men's World title at Dynasty. Now, yeah, that was my thoughts for AEW Dynasty. Obviously, I ramble a lot, so sorry for how long it's taken. However, I think a big thought in my head is, does Jay White return? If Jay White returns, it's immediately after the final bell. immediately. I think you have Jay White come out, face whoever, and that's it. Either, because obviously you've got the match for Andrade and Darby, so they face off straight away. But I don't know, whoever you do, I think Jay White possibility, but it's just depending where. I think either way, the match, the card, everything here is a great card. Zero looks stacked, the main card looks stacked. It's going to be a great show. Hope everyone enjoys it, because it's going to be fucking great. So yeah, that's my predictions for AEW Dynasty. Yeah, let me know what you think. However, I will want to just note, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the reviews yet. I don't know if I'm going to just do 2 big videos, match by match again. I don't know. It's hard for me because it's a Sunday. I don't have the whole day. I've got work, stuff like that. So either way, I don't even know when I'm going to be watching it. I don't know if I'm going to wake up early to watch it or stay up and then try. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. But either way, I think this card's going to be fun, and I hope you all enjoy it. Let me know what you think in the comments below.